Hello folks and welcome to Seeker Gaming. Today I'm going to be doing a review for you and we're also going to pick the giveaway winner. That's happening at the end of the video. So what are we reviewing today? It's not what I just vaped. It's this, the Innokin Endura T22. Now you might be asking why I'm reviewing this kind of mouth-to-lung starter kit, and there's a reason. This makes me angry. I have not seen one negative review on this thing. Everyone is singing its praises, and I'm here to make a counterpoint. So this review is going to seem a little bit more negative than it probably deserves, but think of it as a counterbalance to all the other good reviews you see out there. So what is it? It's Innokin's mouth-to-lung starter kit, and it's designed to replicate a cigarette experience to as best as a vape device can replicate a cigarette experience. What I will say for the positives, and I'll just get this right out of the way, it's reliable, it's durable, it's simple. So there you go. Those are the three biggest pros I have for it. And as a starter kit, it's not the worst thing in the world. It's not terrible. If someone were to buy this as their first starter kit after they've tried it in a store and determined they like it and stuff like that, you could do worse. So that's my long and short opinion on it. Now I'm going to kind of go into why I don't like it, other than the fact that everyone seems to love it for some reason. So let me take a vape off it first and show you what kind of performance you can expect. Clouds, bro. So the first thing that a lot of people say is it's good for a smoker because it replicates how a cigarette feels. So the things that they've done, they've taken the drip tip and made it exactly the same size as a cigarette filter, so that's familiar. It's a top coil. It's basically a reworked iClear 30S coil. So it's got cotton in there instead of silica, but the coil's at the top, and that's supposed to give you more heat, like a cigarette. They've made it a little bit more simple by taking away adjustable airflow. All right, and there's also nothing to adjust on the battery, which all kind of sounds good, but here's my take on and it's also top fill, so you don't have to remove the tank to refill it. You only need to remove the tank when you replace the coil. So let me get into this point by point. First of all, the tank. It's a top coil. There's a reason we moved away from top coils, okay? And it's because, in my opinion, it doesn't wick that well. When it gets down to the bottom, you do get dry hits every now and then. It's not terrible. It's not as bad as a CE4. But the other thing is spit back. If you hit this once or twice in a row, I guess you can't do it once in a row, 2 or 3 times in a row, you'll actually feel it hitting your tongue, like hot little specks of juice hitting your tongue. And for someone like me where this wouldn't be satisfying, if I bought this, I'd be hitting it over and over and over again. And what that also does is it causes the vapor to condense back into a liquid up in the drip tip. And because it's a narrow drip tip, it kind of gets caught in there. And when you pull through it, it kind of creates a bubble that explodes into your mouth. So I've gotten liquid like on my tongue, on my lips, and that's not a pleasant experience. As a vapor, you kind of deal with it. When you're using a dripper, if it happens, you kind of deal with it. But for someone coming straight from smoking, that's something that they're not going to want to have to deal with. That's going to be a major turnoff. And you can change the drip tip and all that, but by then, who knows? They might have given up. The other thing is the top fill. Yeah, the top fill is always nice. You know, I like top fill tanks too, but bottom fill isn't a deal breaker. In addition, you're going to have to learn how to take the coil out and put it back in. So whoever's explaining how to use this is still going to have to be like, yep, you take the tank off and then you unscrew the bottom, right? And then you pop the coil out and you put a new one in. So I mean, for you and me who have been using bottom coil tanks and, stuff like that for a while, or even rebuildables you have to fill from the bottom, top fill is more convenient. But think about it from a perspective of a vapor who's coming from smoking. And you're talking to a shop owner and they're explaining how to use this. Normally, you'd be able to say, all right, so you flip it over, you unscrew it, you take the coil out, that's how you replace your coil, and this is also where you fill it. Right? So it's one thing. You flip it over, you take the bottom off, that's how you fill it, and that's how you replace the coil. Now they're going to have to, be like, this is how you fill it. You unscrew the top and you fill it, and then you screw it back, and then to replace the coil, you flip it over and unscrew the bottom. So I know it's not that much more work, but it sounds like more work. And for anyone who's ever worked in a store, if you try to explain too much to someone who's not ready for it, they kind of get this glazed over look in their eyes and they kind of stop caring and they kind of start thinking, man, this is a little bit much. So there's that. Here's the other interesting thing about this tank, and this has to do with the mod too. Innokin said they wanted to replicate the cigarette-like experience, but with this device, you're still going to have to use it like you're vaping, which is, you know, long, slow drags, and you don't inhale all the way if you want to see any vapor, like this. Right? So long, slow drags, then inhale, exhale, and that's how you see the vapor. If I were to hit this like a cigarette, sharp, quick drags, inhale all the way and exhale, this is what it's going to look like. That does not feel like a cigarette to me at all. So they're still going to have to learn how to vape. The other thing is that they got rid of adjustable airflow. And yeah, it made it simpler, but you also can't adjust the airflow. You know, and even cigarettes, among cigarettes, there's different types of airflow. The lighter the cigarette, you know, like lights, ultra lights, or full flavors, generally, the light cigarettes have extra holes punched into the filter to make it airy. So this kind of reminds me of a light cigarette. It's actually kind of airy for me when it comes to mouth to lung hits. So I would want it tighter. And yeah, okay, it's simple because you don't have adjustable airflow, but how complicated is it to show someone, oh, you turn the ring. Boop, you turn the ring. I mean, you just made it that much more simple by taking away a huge feature. So I don't agree with that. If they were going to do that, they should have at least made the draw tighter, you know? So going back to the heat thing, and we'll transition into the mod now. Now, there's nothing inherently wrong with the mod. It charges internally with a micro USB, but this is a 2200 mAh battery. And Innokin also has the Endura T18, which is kind of a tube. It has a smaller tank. I think it's 18 millimeters or 18.5 millimeters with a battery to match. Now, that battery is 1000 mAh. This is 2200 mAh. Now, if you look at the Ego 1, or if you look at the Ego Cloud from Smoke Tech, or the iJust 2 from eLeaf, they're all much bigger batteries in a much smaller package. Okay, so you got, let's just take the Smoke Tech Ego Cloud, because that one is actually an 18.5 millimeter. I know the other ones are 22. You might not want something that big. So let's go with the 18 millimeter, 2200 mAh battery. Okay, the same size battery as this, only it's an 18 millimeter tank, 18 millimeter battery, and it's about the same height. So you're not going to get a whole lot of battery life. Now, granted, this only fires down to 1.2 ohms, and this tank is 5 mils. It's going to last longer than a sub-ohm type setup because the resistance is higher, so the battery is going to last longer, and the tank is going to last longer because you're doing mouth to lung instead of lung hitting. However, I have a feeling that like any other company, Smoke Tech, Joytech could have fit like almost a 3000 mAh battery into something this size. I just don't get it. Why did it need to be this big? This is not going to appeal to a smoker, I don't think, as much as the T18, the smaller one, and that's only a 1000 mAh battery. It's basically an Ego battery. So, but it's bigger than an Ego battery. There's 1000 mAh Ego batteries that are that 14 millimeter Ego diameter. So I don't know where all that space is going. It's not even variable. Now we'll move on to that. This is not a fixed voltage. This is a fixed wattage. Like if you remember, Innokin's Coolfire 1 was 8 watts. Always. You couldn't change it. It would kind of adjust the voltage on its own based on your resistance. So this is 14 watts. Always. I don't know why. Because what happens is, let's say you're someone like me and that's not hot enough for you and you want something that's warmer, or it's too hot. Let's say you're using a really high nicotine, the throat hit is too much. You want to make it cooler. If it was a straight 3.7 volts, you could get, you know, a 1.2 ohm atomizer. You can get a 2 ohm atomizer. You can adjust that way. And you don't really need to know anything about it. You know, let's say you tried it for a few days. You don't really like it. And you go back to the shop and the shop owner's like, well, what was wrong? Well, I wanted more vapor. I wanted it to be warmer. Oh, well, then try this coil. Now you can't do that because if you put a 1.2, a 2 ohm, a 2.5 ohm, it's all going to vape the same because it's 14 watts. That does not add to the simplicity whatsoever. 3.7 volts would have been just as simple as 14 watts. Innokin just went ahead and decided, oh no, 14 watts is where you want to be. However, I tested this and I'm going to show you right now because I'm about to put it on a DNA 200. Boom, 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 boom. So this is the blacksmith from Mad Vapes. MV Authentics. I named this one. It's the Templar. So it's at 100 watts right now. That's definitely too much. Let's bring it down to 14. Let's start where Innokin says it's supposed to be. I should probably fill this a little bit too, just in case. How about some birthday cake? So this is me filling it, by the way. You unscrew the top. And then you just kind of pour your liquid in. I'm not even going to fill it all the way because I don't want to waste liquid because I'm not really going to use this. Okay, now it's full. It's at 14 watts. This is reading at 1.63 ohms. Still kind of airy for a cigarette style drag. I mean, I pull it, I kind of get all the suction in the first second, and then I have to work for the next 3 seconds to get the vapor. That was a little better. Now let's try it at 20 watts. You would think that like Innokin found any more than 14 watts and it kind of burns. And this is thick liquid. Keep in mind, this is max VG. 20 watts. Hey, not too bad. How about 30? Nope. Sorry, the accelerometer kicked in. Overshot it. I gotta adjust the settings so it doesn't go so fast. All right, 30 watts. Would you look at that? What about if you chain vape it with max VG? Well, would you look at that? It keeps up. How about 35 watts? It keeps up. 35 watts. I don't want to go much higher than that because guess what I can do now? I can get the heat and I can do that sharp, quick cigarette style drag like I'm smoking and inhale all the way and still get vapor. With thick liquid and chain vaping, and it keeps up at 35 watts. So why, for the love of God, is this stuck at 14 watts? I have no idea. But, Innokin, you're telling me there's no way that you could have put a dial or something? I mean, people aren't that stupid. They can adjust their wattage or their voltage. Why not make a mod that's 40 watts or 35 watts and let people adjust it on their own? Or keep this at 3.7 volts and let them buy new coils. But you can't because this is stuck at 14 watts. And this is way better. This tank on its own, I mean, I would get the tank and then hook some up with like, I don't know, a Sigelli 30 watt for cheap. That would be a much better mouth to lung cigarette style experience, and you can adjust it if it's too hot for you. But I mean, come on, 35 watts. Ugh, I'm kind of getting liquid. You want that cigarette-like experience? Get this tank and put it at 35 watts. Smoke it like a cigarette. I only wish that they would have made it adjustable airflow because it's still too airy. So there's that. Now, the other thing you got to think about is, I don't know if any of you have ever worked in a store, but one thing that people hate is being told that what they just bought a month or two ago is kind of obsolete and they need to buy something else completely. If they had made this a 2800 mAh 3.7 volt, sub-ohm thing, it only fires down to 1.2, by the way. So you can't use a sub-tank on here. I don't know why you'd want to at 14 watts, but it's much easier when someone comes in saying, hey, I'm looking for something else, to be like, well, your mod's fine, but I can give you this new tank. You can't really do that here. You just can't. Well, I mean, what are you going to put on here? 14 watts. I mean, a K-Fun maybe, but that's kind of a big jump for people. Um, if they had made this 3.7 volts, you could try out a sub tank, even if it's something like the Triton. You know, you could have put the 1.5 ohm coil and still done mount the lung, and it probably would have worked a little bit better. Or you could have tried out lung hitting, and that's kind of the point I'm getting at. Innokin has taken away all those options. I'm going to bring up the Smoke Ego Cloud again. You'll probably hear me say some bad stuff about Smoke Tech, but that's because I'm focusing on their X Cubes and their TFV4s and stuff. When it comes to their starter kit, I actually think Smoke Tech makes the best starter kits. Their microcore clearomizers are really nice. You know, they have the OCC microcores that you can lung hit with. It's tight, but you can lung hit with them. Or they have the regular microcores that are really good for mouth to lung. It's a tight draw. You can adjust them. And it's really quiet and smooth, and they don't leak, and it's great. If you're going to get a starter kit, I don't see why you would limit yourself, because you don't know what you like when you're starting out. If you get the Ego Cloud kit, you could do mouth to lung, you can do lung hits, and you could do both well. The lung hits are slightly tight, which is expected for a starter kit, and the mouth to lung draws are a little bit airy, but no more airy than this. The only problem I see with that is the drip tip's a little big for mouth to lung. You could do it, it's just a little awkward, but you buy a $2 drip tip and put it in there, you know? So that gives someone the ability to try out mouth to lung and lung hitting at, you know, different temperatures. You get different resistance coils, all with the starter kit that they bought for like 35 bucks. You know, here's the thing. Lung hitting has kind of gotten, cloud chasing has a kind of a stigma attached to it now. I started vaping in 2009, and by 2011, I was smoke free and I was lung hitting. And it wasn't like, oh God, we get it, you vape. It was, hey, wow, look at those clouds. And people around me, before the misinformation started spreading, were genuinely interested. Like, tell me more. Where can I get that? That smells really good. It's a different environment now, and even vapors who aren't enthusiast vapors are feeling attacked by the people who mouth the lung. So I feel like there's this obligation to say good things about something that's mouth the lung when it's not revolutionary at all. You can go out and you can get an Ego kit. You can get a Smoke RDC kit. You can get an Ego Cloud kit. You can even get an Ego 1 kit with temp control and mouth the lung that if you want, and lung hit, and try out temp control, and try out all this other stuff. And when you go to upgrade, you don't have to get an entirely new setup. You could just buy a new tank or a new mod or mix and match. You know, you already know what you like too, because you've already had the opportunity to try both with all these other kits for about the same price. So I don't get it. I don't see where all the praise is coming from. Like, Innokin tried to make something that replicated the cigarette-like experience, and I don't think they succeeded. It doesn't feel like a cigarette. Just because you make the drip tip the same size as a cigarette filter doesn't mean it feels like a cigarette. Just because you put in a top coil doesn't mean you get more heat when it's capable of 35 watts plus, and you force people to use it at 14 watts. I don't get it, and I don't understand where all the praise is coming from. Now, I'm a cloud chaser, but I don't do cloud comps. I don't do it in public. I'm not a jerk about it. I do lung hits because that's what I need to keep me from smoking. I was a dual user up until I started rebuilding, and I took an AGAT and I took an RSST and I drilled a hole out and I lung hit Genesis tanks. And that's what finally got me to quit smoking. And then drippers and then all these other RTAs and stuff. So people kind of look at cloud chasers and they're like, oh, you just like blowing clouds. It's like, well, yeah, I do. But that's also what I need to keep me from smoking. Mouth to lung just doesn't do it. Even this at 35 watts is not going to keep me off the cigarettes. It's just not going to do it. And the thing that came the closest, honestly, was I took an unregulated, it was the Bolt. I took an unregulated, the Bolt from Smoke Tech, stacked 18350 Ultrafire batteries in there before there were IMR batteries, and I put like a 2 ohm dual coil in a DCT tank. And that was kind of the closest thing. That was like 25 watts, I think, if you do the math. So it was 7.4 volts with a 2 ohm dual coil Cardo in a tank. And that kind of worked for a while, but I was still dual using, probably like 80% vaping and 20% smoking. But it was rebuildables and lung hitting and clouds that got me off smoking. And now I feel like the cloud chasers are looked on as kind of jerks and irritating, and they don't understand that vaping is about quitting smoking. And then there's kind of the cloud chasers looking at the people who mouth the lung and saying, noobs, get a real device. It's not that. This is not me criticizing this for being a mouth-to-lung device. This is me saying this is not all it's cracked up to be. There are better mouth-to-lung devices out there for what they're trying to do, And there's also better mouth to lung devices that also allow you to lung hit, because there are people like me out there who that's what they need to quit smoking. So that's what I'm saying with that. The Innokin Endura T22 and the T18. This is the T22. The T18 is exactly the same. The tank's smaller and holds less liquid, and the battery's 1,000 mAh. Whoop-de-doo. But they're both 14 watts, not 3.7 volts. So that's the gist of it. This thing could take a lot more if they really wanted to improve this and make it actually like a cigarette-like experience. Make this fire a lot higher, or make it 3.7 volts, but it fires down to 0.5 instead of 1.2. Let you use different resistance coils for it. Make it bottom coil, because that top coil really isn't doing a whole lot as far as heat goes. Lily, come on. Say hello and then get down. You can't walk all over my technology. Tiny kitty. Add adjustable airflow to the tank. For the love of God, it's not rocket science. You turn a ring and it changes the airflow. So what would I recommend for a starter kit? If you're watching this and you're looking for something else to get started smoking, any type of Smoke Tech starter kit that has an RDC coil in it or an ADC coil, anything that says a micro core attached to it, I really think those are the best starter kits. They might not last a year. They might, but I don't really know. I don't think any starter kit is really going to last a year plus reliably, but you're going to be upgrading anyway. You're either going to quit vaping or you're going to upgrade. It's the way it is. Nothing's going to last forever. As it stands though, yeah, it's simple and yeah, it's reliable. I just think it's lacking in almost every other area. I mean, $14 watts is just, yeah, it's not doing it. So I call this the Endura, king of the cig-alikes, because that's about the performance you get off here. You can recharge it, you can refill it, and the tank and the battery last a little bit longer, but that's what it feels like to me. It feels like a little Hankson disposable from 3 years ago, or an Enjoy. That's barely inhaling. Anyway, that's enough of the rant. Check out one of the newer starter kits, the Ego Cloud, if you want the option of lung hitting and mount to lunging. If you know you just want to mount the lung, an RDC or an ADC starter kit, anything with a DC basically from Smoke Tech, or anything that says microcore. There's two types of microcore coils. So you got the regular ones or the adjustable ones. They let you adjust your juice flow. Those ones are mount to lung, and they're really good for mount to lung. Probably the best mount to lung coil out there right now, and they're very underrated. Check them out. I dare you. And then if you want to upgrade to a mount to lung, you could take another coil, the microcore OCC coils, put them in the same clearomizer, and lung hit them. They're shaped vertically like an Atlantis coil, but they're a little bit smaller. So they're a little bit tighter. It's not a quite, RDA-like experience by any means, but you can lung hit it and try it out and just see if you like it. And if you don't, you're only out like $2 that it costs you for a coil. You put your old coils back in and go back to mount the lunging. I think that's a way better option. If you don't like that option, you got Kanger EVODs. You got stuff from eLeaf. I don't remember what they're called, but they have some clearomizer type things too. Or if you really want to get started on vaping for like $5, I'm sure you can get like a cheap version 1 bottom coil and a 900 mAh or 650 mAh Ego battery at a gas station. I wouldn't recommend that, but I'm sure some vape shops still have them. Even that would be better than this, because believe it or not, bottom coil technology is about 3 years ahead of where this is. Well, no, I didn't say that right. This is about 3 years behind everything else. It's an iClear 30S, and what people forget too is the actual iClear 30S can be a top fill tank. So they basically took an iClear 30S, swapped out the silica for cotton, and that's it. Changed the look of it a little bit. It's a reworked iClear 30S and a reworked Coolfire 1. And I bet you can go out and you can find an iClear 30S and a Coolfire 1 for probably less than $20 altogether. So I don't see the value in this. That's my opinion. Sorry, Innokin. You could have did better. Let's vape something a little more my speed. Not at 35 watts. No, not at 35 watts though. 100 watts. This is 20 gauge. That's why I need 100 watts. So don't be scared. Okay. Giveaway time. I emailed myself the list. I took all your names. I put it in an Excel file. Why is the web page not available? Riddle me this. It's all right. I'm going to edit this part out. All right, and we're back. Sorry about that. Had a little bit of a technical difficulty. You'll never know because I edited it out. But what we're going to do now is find a contest winner. So this was for, hold on, let me go back. This is for the Gold Rush kit from Artery Vapor. Brand new. It's a mini 50-watt box mod with temp control. Yeah, comes with a tank, a mod, a few coils, charger, all that good stuff. So here we go. Everyone who commented on the video got entered. You ready? Let's go. Pat Mash is the winner. So Pat Mash, I'm going to send you a PM. Give me your address, your shipping address, and I will get that sent out to you for free. You pay nothing, and you get a brand new sealed Gold Rush kit from Artery Vapor. If you don't reply by, let's say, I'll give you a week. So what's a week? Let me just click on the calendar. I don't want to screw this up. The 15th, Monday, February 15th, 2016. If I don't hear from you by then, it's going to go to Vape God. I'll give Vape God a week, and then if I don't hear anything from him, I'll go down to Danny Pettingill. So, yeah, that's how we're going to do it. For now, though, the winner, Pat Mash. Congratulations, man. Get back to me, respond to that PM, and we'll get you an Artery Vapor Gold Rush kit shipped right out. You saw it here, random.org. That's how I roll. Congratulations. All right. That's it for today. I'm going to do one more vape. I'll give you a quick first look on what I'm vaping. I just got this from Geek Vape. This is the Tsunami Rda. So it's kind of a mix of like a Velocity and a Kennedy. It comes with 3 chuff caps. It's got the slanted one. It's got one that goes straight up and has a 510 drip tip adapter. It's got bottom airflow with this top cap right here, and it's got a Velocity deck right there. I'm okay with it. It tends to leak on me like most bottom airflow things do, and I know you're supposed to take the cap off and paint your coils. I hate doing that. I just want to dump liquid in, and it kind of tends to not really leak. It does pool up in the airflow. When I see that, I panic and go, oh God, and then it kind of clears itself out. So yeah, that is the Tsunami Rda. There will be a review for this, but that's what I've been vaping all day, and it's pretty good. So thank you for watching. This has been, I am recording, right? Okay, good. Woo! All right. So I am streaming tonight, so check it out if you want. Actually, by the time this goes up, I won't be streaming tonight. I'll be streaming on Wednesday. I'm going to be doing more Battlefield 4. I've been kind of killing it with the sniper rifles lately, so check that out. Please follow on Twitch and Twitter, like on Facebook, and subscribe right here on YouTube, just right down below the video. You can also subscribe to me on Patreon or through Game Wisp. If you go to my Twitch channel, down below there'll be a button that says subscribe. You click on that, it'll bring you to Game Wisp, and you can help support the stream that way. Or you can just watch. Watching is always great. Come hang out, talk vape, talk video games. It's a good time. I'm going to try to get a set schedule going, so it'll probably be Tuesday through Saturday. I'll take Sunday and Monday off, and then I won't have to deal with this. Well, 5 days a week. Sometimes it's this day, sometimes it's that day. No, it's just going to be Sunday and Monday. Makes everything a lot easier for everyone. It's all based on Amy's work schedule, though, so kind of waiting on her to get on that. So that's it. That was the Innokin Endura T22, and we gave away an Artery Vapor Gold Rush kit. So thanks for watching. Please subscribe, like, comment, share, all that good stuff, and we'll see you next time on Seeker Gaming.